Good morning, beautiful people, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Divine Truth, where we bring out the truth in any concept. So today I want to speak on drugs. I'm only gonna focus on alcohol, cigarette, and actually alcohol, tobacco, and weed, because there's the most important lesson in those drugs. And before I do so, I want you to check out my video that I made on Gunas. You will get it on my description, on the link on my description below. Watch that video before you can come and watch this in order to understand, because I'm going to refer to the dimensions of nature as Gunas, and I'm not gonna get on it. So it will be much important for you to go and check out that video first and then come back here to watch this video. Here's what you must understand. We must understand that we live in the system. I'm going to refer to it as the matrix, or we may call it the system of the lower frequencies, the system of anger, fear. Christians call it demons. I will call it demons for you to understand. We live in the system of the devil, the enemy that is trying to hold us back, the ego that is trying to hold us, that is trying to trap us in the system. And every rule and every law in this universe is governed by the ego. So the ego will try to hold us back in the system. So coming to drugs, that's where you must realize the most important things. There's a reason why tobacco and alcohol became legal first, and weed only became legal now because of the influence of the 5D dimension. So the reason why alcohol and tobacco became legal is not only because people make profit out of it, or is because people create it and sell it, but it's also because alcohol and tobacco, it doesn't expand our dimensions of life. It doesn't make us better people. It doesn't make us the greatest versions of ourselves, but instead it kills our brain cells, which means it actually slows us down. It slows our growth down. It slows our processing down. So basically, alcohol and tobacco doesn't benefit the system, but it kills the system. And also caffeine also, but I'll make a video on it. I'll make a video on it separately. So alcohol and tobacco are actually bad for the system. People who smoke tobacco and alcohol, they either remain the same or they slow down. They become much angry people, much fearful people, much stressful people, much worried people, because after they drink alcohol just numb their feelings. Alcohol is like it's like ignorance, or not ignorance, actually ignorance. This is one of the Gunas. It traps us in the dimension of ignorance, where we don't wake up to things, but we still continue to be victims. And we escape with alcohol, because alcohol makes us feel numb for a few hours and we feel like we have overcome it. So alcohol and tobacco traps us in the ignorance dimension, and in the ignorance dimension, that's where suffering exists. So we suffer to work and be slaves of the system in order to make money, so that every Friday and every Saturday we must drink alcohol and we must smoke tobacco. So we are trapped in the dimension of ignorance with no any hope to exist the system. We are much trapped into the system, that we give into the system, and we are so used to the system that we cannot get out. So being said that, let me get on weed. Now, weed is the most beautiful drug that ever existed on earth. Though I don't use it much myself, because I've shifted above the consciousness of weed, so using it won't benefit me as much. But there are so many people who are vibrating at the lowest frequency. When they use weed benefits them, because weed doesn't only drugs you, but it also slows the body down. It slows the body down, and then it makes us to be still and stop being in action. Just be still still, and when we become still, we are able to access the higher dimensions of life, the higher dimensions of our visions. So the reason why it's banned is because of it wakes us up, and it actually set us free from the system of the matrix. That's the reason why people who smoke weed, like for example rappers who smoke weed, when they after they smoke and then rap, they start to rap some good shit, they start to rap some good music, and then their music start to make sense. So weed is the most beautiful drug ever, because it enhances our perception, and we are able to perceive the higher dimensions of our existence. And because of that, that's why the system, which is ego, has took so long to actually legalize weed. Right now, because of the 5D dimension is starting to be present on the present moment. Now that is the only time when weed is starting to be legalized, and beside that, it's legalized through conditions. So some people must have it and some people must not have, which means the system has made it available to people who are already trapped in the system, because it knows that they will enhance the system and not go into higher dimensions. So for people who are trying to disconnect from the system, it becomes hard for them to get access to weed. So weed is a beautiful drug. That's the reason why it's been banned. Though it's not the ultimate path to enlightenment, to consciousness, to higher states of consciousness, but it takes you a bit there. So weed is beautiful, and that's the reason why it's banned and become illegal. Even right now, though it's legalized, but in the minds of different people, it's still legal. They still see it as a bad thing. That's only because of people who are trapped in the dimension of ignorance, in the guna of ignorance. They still want to sleep, so they don't want to wake up. It's only people who have shifted from the dimension of ignorance to the dimension of passion that they start to use the weed, and the weed takes them to the purity dimension, where they're able to see things as pure as it is. That's why people who smoke weed, they are not discriminative. They love others, and then they are striving for higher dimensions. They're striving for peace, for love, and for joy. So I hope that you've got something from it, and subscribe if you've never subscribed to my channel before, because I make videos every day. So I touch any subject, because basically I'm a free being, so I'm not associated with any religion, with any concept, or with any ideology. So have a great day wherever you are. Peace.